Hey, Modern Math Teacher. Welcome to the Modern Math Teacher podcast. I'm your host, Kristen Moore, and today we're going to dive into all things practical for your math classroom. But in particular, in this episode, we are talking about the power of exit tickets. We all know about exit tickets. We've all been told to use them. And this year, I made it my mission to really try them out in the classroom and really get good at using this simple but effective practice. Now that we're 2 months into the school year, I know how things are going in my classroom, and I'm ready to share the power of reflection, how to use exit tickets effectively with you so that you can unlock this power in your classroom as well. So let's dig into how you can use these mini reflections, these exit tickets, to transform your instruction and make learning stick in this quickie episode. All right, first up, why do exit tickets matter? Why have we all been encouraged to use these in our classrooms, and what can we do with them? Okay, so exit tickets aren't just about finding out who understood the day's lesson. That's a great option, of course, but they're about giving us students more than that. It's a chance for them to reflect and to self assess and really think critically about what they learned. And that's where the power is really come in. It gives us as the teachers really invaluable data for planning for future instruction, whether that's the next day or the next week or something you just know you need to circle back to again. Here are a few reasons why exit tickets are so effective in the classroom. Number one, of course, it's immediate feedback. These exit tickets are going to give you a quick pulse check on how the lesson landed with your students. Number two, it's an opportunity for students to engage in self reflection and self assessment. Okay, so it's going to encourage your students to pause and reflect on their own learning, which deepens their understanding. And it gives you an opportunity for them to self assess how well they understood that lesson. And number three, it's going to give you the keys to differentiation. It's going to allow you to support the students who need the extra support, and you can adjust for the next day's lesson, right? That data-driven decision making and data-driven planning, that's what these give you in a quick win. Okay, so now that we know why they're important, which again, it is going to give you immediate feedback, it's going to encourage student reflection, and it's going to provide you the keys to differentiation, we want to talk about some practical ways that we can actually use these in our classroom. So let's talk about the how of using the exit tickets. First, you need to know what you're measuring in that exit ticket. Are you measuring their content knowledge? Are you measuring their mindset shift? Here are a few different types of exit tickets you can try. Number one, a sample problem. This is probably the most traditional way that we use our exit tickets. You're going to give students an opportunity to solve one problem that captures the key elements from that day's lesson. And you get to use that as the teacher to spot check and see how they're doing with that procedure. This is probably the number one way that I use exit tickets in my classroom. Number two is a 1 minute quick write. Ask your students to summarize the day's lesson in just a minute or less. Whatever they pull out is their understanding of those key concepts. Number three is question time. So you can have them jot down questions that they still have based on the lesson. This is really great for you to capture, especially as you're getting close to a review day in class, getting ready for an assessment. If you ask them what their questions are, you're going to be better prepared to help them during that review time before the assessment. Okay, number four is rate your understanding. And this one I combine with number one all the time. So when you're asking students to rate their understanding, you simply ask the students to rate their understanding like 1 through 4 of the scale and justify why they believe that is. So I actually combine this with number one. I have my students do a sample problem at the end of every lesson, and then I have them drop them into their level of understanding bins. They're laid out 1 through 4. And so I can use that with my students, quickly gather and say, these are all fours, scan, they've all got them right. Fantastic. Here's my threes. They also have them right. Ooh, this one didn't get it right. So I can quickly see my twos and my ones. That's what I'm going to spend the most time with. Okay. So you can always combine these. And then the last one that's really interesting here is connect the dots. So how does this lesson connect to something you've already learned, right? So we want to make sure that our students are able to see the different connections in mathematics and that these are not just separated topics. So asking them to think and be reflectful and thoughtful on that can be really helpful as well. All right, so now that we know 5 different ways we can use our exit tickets and the 3 reasons why they're important, let's talk about how we can use them then as the teacher to drive our instruction, because that's really what we're going to be getting at here. Once you've collected these exit tickets, what is next for you? This, you guys, is where the magic is going to happen. So we can use the information to plan our next lesson or reteach a topic that didn't quite land. At the end of every class, as I mentioned, I go through, I quick check all of the people who put theirs in fours, which is like, I know this so well, Miss Moore, I could teach a student. As long as they're right, I'm done with that ticket. I honestly just put them in the trash. Don't tell. And then same thing for my threes. That's, I really got this, I think. And so again, as long as those are all correct in my spot check of them, then I can also get rid of those. It's my twos and my ones that I'm going to focus on. My students were like, I think I get it, but I need some more help, or I don't understand this at all. That gives me the data I need in order to plan a reteach of that lesson, or I make sure to spiral review that as our entry ticket the next day so that I get an opportunity to reteach and reinforce that concept in real time. So that's just one way that you can use your exit tickets to drive your instruction. All right. Now you might be thinking, okay, so this is a lot of paper, which it is. That's okay. How can I use some tech to make this a little bit quicker for me? So if you're like me, you love to use tech to make your life easier. You can always use something like a Google form, a Padlet, or a poll everywhere to help streamline the exit ticket process, especially depending on the type of exit ticket you want to do. Plus, when you're using text, students often feel more comfortable reflecting in a digital format. And best of all, you can quickly analyze the data and keep it organized. Let's say, for example, you are doing that 1 minute right, or that question time, or that connect the dots. I would use a Google form for that, and you can take all of the answers from your Google Form spreadsheet, copy and paste them into ChatGPT, and it can help you analyze and say, what are the top questions my students have? What are the trends I'm seeing? How do my students see the connections happening? You can then use all of that information to help you design a new lesson, to go over it again during warm ups the next day, just to keep for future use, to understand what they strongly understand and what their misconceptions might be. So that's a great way to use the digital format. For sample problems and quick rating of your understanding, I again like to use that on paper and have my students self assess that way. But tech can be such a time saver when you're having them write, and also, a tree saver. So there's that. All right, guys. So that's kind of a wrap on this quickie episode. Exit tickets are one of those really simple and effective tools that we all learned about, but we often overlook and we don't necessarily put into practice. I've been really intentional with that this year, and I want you to start thinking about how you can be intentional with that this year too. Exit tickets might be simple, you guys, but when they're used effectively, they can drastically improve your classroom insights and instruction. And that's what we're all about. Before we wrap up, I want to encourage you to give it a try this week. And don't forget, if you're looking for more tips like this, check out the Project Based Algebra Teachers Membership, where you'll get access to tons of real world activities and more engagement strategies for your math classroom. As always, I'd love to hear how you're using your exit tickets. Drop a comment or send me a message. Join us in the Modern Math Teachers movement and chat with us all about it there. Until next time, you guys, keep reflecting, keep engaging, and as always, keep it real.